Hi everybody, this is Sarah Ho, Diamond out of Houston, Texas. So excited to be training on one of my favorite skills, and that is skill number 3 out of GoPro audiobook by Eric Worre, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. And today we're going to talk about presenting your product or opportunity to your prospects. And it's just been an honor and privilege to be part of this leadership group that's been rolling out this boot camp. We've been getting so much positive feedback, and actually when we trained on this weekend with our Houston group, they said that this has been a lot of them said that this has been their favorite training so far. So we're just working on bringing the highest value possible. And the reason why this is one of my favorite topics is because once you master this skill, your confidence goes through the roof, because I always tell my team that as long as you're depending on someone else to do the presentations for your group, they hold the keys to your business. So you want to take ownership of your business. And what I love most about this training that I designed here is that we found a way to train on how to give the presentation very simply but still very effectively. And so what I want you to do is, if you're not taking notes right now, go ahead and grab a journal and take notes, and don't just listen to learn. Listen as if you would teach this tomorrow, because I'm telling you that it's going to process a whole different way, and really that's what we're looking for in this business, are people who are wanting to become leaders. And the faster you can train this forward, the better you're going to actually know the material yourself. So let's talk about presenting and talk about the agenda first of all. I always like to have an objective in mind before we begin the training. So by the end of this training, we're going to make sure that you know how to effectively tell your story, also that you understand how to become an effective presenter, and by the end you're going to be able to crush it in closing and casting vision, which honestly to me is the number one skill here. I know we say it's promoting events, but guess what happens at events? You cast vision. So super important, and we're going to get to all three today. So let's first talk about the mindset that amateurs approach presenting with. They always think, I have to become an expert on all the facts associated with Kayani, so if anyone asks me any questions, I'll be right there with the answers. Okay, we can all be guilty. I've even been guilty of getting stuck in what we call analysis paralysis. Holy smokes. First you're really excited, but then as you progress, sometimes you're like, man, I really feel like I should know this, I should know that. But here's why you don't want to. Problem number one is that no matter how much you learn, guess what? There will still be questions that stump you. And if you present yourself as the expert and still get stumped, that might make your prospect question the whole opportunity. Okay, now problem number two is that most of your friends and family, they know you aren't an expert, at least not in this business. So when you come to them and present yourself as an authoritative figure, they know it's not true. And sometimes I can even make them more skeptical than they already are. So let's talk about the last problem with this, is that even if you are successful at becoming an expert, the other distributors in your organization don't necessarily have the same desire or willingness to learn. And as a result, you will be the go-to guy for every single presentation, and there's no way to create an organization that will duplicate with this approach. And without duplication, network marketing is just a job. So here's how professionals approach presenting, their mindset around it. So pros never make themselves the issue or present themselves as an expert. They act as a consultant who simply connects their prospect to tools, events, or other distributors to help them become educated. So here's what professionals also know, is that they could sign the person up by dazzling them with their knowledge and experience, but they also know it would take a long time for their new distributors to do the same. So they came up with a simpler approach. So professionals, if you're not taking notes, this is the one thing to write down. In network marketing, it doesn't matter what works, it only matters what duplicates. Now, I just want to let that sink in for a second, because when I first heard that, I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't really fully register it. I thought it was just another, jingle or cliche we say in network marketing all the time that kind of just like, in one ear, out the other. But this is probably one of the truest things in this business. And if you want to build a long-term residual here, whether it's a couple thousand or a couple $100,000 a month, you want to have that long-term vision for understanding, is what I'm doing right now simple enough to teach someone in a short period of time? Because simplicity, again, I'll say it over and over again, simplicity always wins. And when people leave your presentation, they should feel like, I can do this, and I could do this right now, okay? And when they feel empowered, oh my goodness, let me just tell you, back earlier on in my career in Kayani, I was at a stage, this is before someone ever taught me this, I was pulling out all the jokes I had up my sleeve, I'd heard from mentors that I really liked, I was pulling out all the stops for analogies and making it such a dense, we'll call it that, and showy presentation to try and, what Eric Roy says, dazzle them. And over again, sometimes I would enroll someone, but a lot of the times I kept getting this response. They say, look, it sounds great, but I could never do what you just did. And I'm like, dang, I just shot myself in the foot. Because that's the last response I want, is for them to be like, hey, look, it's all great, but I could never do that. That's the opposite of what we want. In a presentation, they should feel like I could do it and I could do it right now. So the pros use tools instead of their own wisdom, and what they do bring is their passion, enthusiasm, excitement, and belief. And what I realized is when I trimmed all the fat out of my presentation, my closing ratio went way higher, so much faster, and my team was actually able to duplicate. So it was so cool to see that it really does work. So first of all, let's begin with creating your story. This is actually your most powerful tool in this business, and I want to talk about first the anatomy of a story, or what we call your testimonial, and where you can actually use it. So first of all, your testimonial is made up of 4 parts, and we usually want to keep this in under a minute. And when I do this training to a large group like we did this weekend, I actually time everyone to make sure that when they're doing it and they're partners and they're going back and forth, that they're keeping it in under a minute. Because trust me, when you throw someone up there for the first time, their self-awareness goes out the window. And it's like time stands still. So make sure you're timing yourself as well. But before we actually practice, let's get through the bullet points of what makes a successful testimonial. First of all is your background. Where you're from, what you do for work. Second of all is what you liked and what you didn't like about it. And then number 3 is why you got started in the business. And number 4 is a call to action. So let's go through a couple examples. These are just totally generic, but I'm going to give you examples so you can kind of hear how these flow. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. Prior to Kayani, I was a full-time teacher. I actually teach the 4th grade. And what I loved the most about it was seeing the growth and the impact that I was having in so many different people's lives, right? But what I didn't like is we weren't paid what I feel we deserved, and we were often, working super long hours, and we weren't in control of our schedule, and also there was a lot of politics, So I was looking for a way to generate an income where I was in control of how much I was worth. No one else had to determine that, and something that I was still impacting people. So when I saw Kayani, I found a way to help people and get paid what I'm worth and do it on my own schedule. That's what I love the most. So if this is your first time taking a look at the business, please make sure you pay close attention to the information that's about to be shared with you. And then maybe you go into an edification. So that would be an example of if I'm using my testimonial to open up the room, which means, you're introducing the first speaker. Or if you're, invited on stage to do a testimonial in the middle of the presentation, your call to action could be, lock arms with us and welcome to the team. You just don't want to end with, yeah. It's very weak. So here's another background or example that I actually heard this weekend. Super cool. This lady, she works for the Houston Police Department, and she goes, hi everyone, my background is in law enforcement. I absolutely love serving my community and protecting people, and I think that what she didn't like about it was how overworked they were and that people don't appreciate them. And she said through here she found a way to not just generate extra income, but also help her husband with all these health issues that he'd been dealing with. And so she ended with one of these calls to action when we were practicing. But the biggest thing is we were able to get through 4 practice testimonials in less than 4 minutes. I timed each of them, and they all felt so much more confident knowing that they have this track to run on. And so between these 4 parts, guess which one is the most important? It's actually number 2. Okay, number 2 is it's your point of pain. It's what makes you real. Okay, so your testimonial is not designed to make you look like you're all that. Put simply, I wish I could have worded that more eloquently. But what I'm saying is, when you say, look, I loved my job, or I love my job, but I never get to see my kids, and I spend more time in rush hour traffic than I do with my family. And I was looking for a way to blah, 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 and I found a way to do that here. So that is going to relate to who? All other parents, all other people who want to spend more time with their loved ones. Or, maybe you say, honestly, we're making great money. This is the exact words, by the way, of a gentleman who owns a car dealership here in Houston. He said, money's great, but stress is high and health is poor. Do you all think that kind of could help him? Absolutely. But my point is, when you are willing to make yourself authentic and real and a little bit vulnerable. I'm not saying make this a sob story, like, hey, feel sorry for me. But what I am saying is don't be afraid to be transparent and real with the points of dissatisfaction and what you were looking for and how you found a way and a solution here. Because that makes you the most relatable, and it's what sets you apart from the typical salesperson, okay, who's like, who is this and what are they trying to sell me? Here it's like, wow, I could relate to this person, because guess what? People do business with people they know, love, and trust, or at least feel like they know, love, and trust. And guess what opens the gate to communication is authenticity. So be real about it. Make sure that you write out a few bullet points to each of these, and then practice and record yourself. Now, for a product testimonial, still very similar. I was taught very early on, for any testimonial, a good concept to go off of is past, present, future. So prior to being involved in or prior to being introduced to Kayani, I was dealing with so much neck pain from an accident that I was in, and then you share your experience. This is called the present. And after taking the products for about 6 weeks or so, my pain significantly decreased, and now I'm able to whatever, go play with my kids without having so much pain, or do this or that. Then you end on future. Now I'm passionate about the product. I encourage you, sorry, this is a call to action. Now I'm passionate about the products, and I encourage you to share it with people you care about so they can live a better life and experience Kayani. Super simple. This is also less than a minute. Worst thing is when it's like, oh my gosh, such a long testimonial, and everyone's sitting there like, all right, we get the point. So just remember, if you want to be effective, keep it simple and be intentional. You can always tell when someone's kind of going down a rabbit hole and they're kind of reaching hands in the dark because they didn't come up there with intention. So now be intentional, be genuine, and let's get into the DFY presentation, because this is where you take ownership of your business. Oops, sorry, before we go on, where can you use your story? You can use it in home meetings, DFYs, inviting, cold marketing. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say you're out and about, or let's say you're having lunch with a friend, and you don't want to pitch them, and you shouldn't pitch them if you're just at lunch, and you want to pique their curiosity. They can say, what have you been up to? And you just say, hey, family's good, work is good, but I'm really excited with this business that I'm working on. I mean, that I work a ton of hours making great money, but I was looking for a way to generate more time freedom so I could travel with my family and do what I want, where I want, when I want to, and I think I found it. So it's that was like kind of indirectly of saying, hey, here's my situation, and here's what I'm looking for, and I found it. I found a way to do it. Except, so maybe you don't put a call to action there. If anything, it might be a message or a question. Hey, you know what? If I shared it with you, would you be open to taking a look? Bam, invite, right? Same thing with cold market. But my point is, master your story, because like I said, it really is your most powerful tool. And your story may even change and evolve over time. So, yes, now let's get into the DFI presentation, taking ownership of your business. Mastering the presentation, how do you do this? Okay, first of all, you can model leaders, and then make it your own. And how do you do this? You could record them. You know, I've been in this business for almost 2 years now, and even last Thursday, we had a purple diamond in our market, and guess what? I recorded it. And have I seen this presentation? You bet, probably 1,000 times. But I'm always learning and listening and picking up new things every single time. I take notes, I listen, and guess what? I attend events. Most critical in growing this business. Another huge step is record yourself. The fastest way to self-awareness is to record yourself. Trust me. Oh my goodness, I spoke so much faster than I thought I did when I first recorded myself. Here I am thinking, oh man, yeah, I crushed it. And then I watch my recording or I listen to it and I'm like, that's what I sound like? So, you know, even to this day, I still record myself because I wanna get better, okay? And even my new people, when I'm coaching them in this business, I take their phone and I record them when they're giving, you know, the front half of the presentation. And that, because I can critique them all day, but really they need to see themselves and be more aware. And that's how we've raised some very strong presenters that we're very proud of. So record yourself or have someone record you for you. Practice and repetition. Of course, repetition is the mother of all skill. And once you've mastered the presentation, your confidence skyrockets, like I said earlier, and rather than fearing and avoiding to give presentations, you actually will start to seek opportunities to give it. Way different, and it's such a cool feeling. Now, when it comes to the Team Fusion Done For You slide deck that we use at PBRs, hotel events, home meetings, and things like that, here are some tips. Do not worry about being the funniest or most inspiring presenter. Okay, when I'm presenting, that's actually the least of my worries because here's what I know. Simplicity always wins. So I read the slides, I keep it simple, and again, because people should leave thinking what? I can do this. And they can do it when? Right now. Okay, so smile, have fun. Oh my gosh. This was a big one for me, and if you can relate, maybe you understand, for the majority of my life, have been the type of person who, on the inside, I could be really excited. But my voice, my face, looked so serious. And this industry has really taught me to be more aware of how I'm connecting, communicating, and coming across. And it's so important because enthusiasm is so contagious. And it's really critical to your success in this business. So even if I had to smile more and honestly, you know, exaggerate it in your voice because what feels exaggerated to you is coming off like normal to someone else. And so if that's you, I know how you feel, but trust me, it helps so much and you have a lot more fun doing it. Because here's the truth is that people remember about 7% of what you said, but 100% of how you said it. Did you look like you were having fun? Were you excited to be here or were you scared, right? Did you have confidence or were you lacking posture? They remember how you said it. Now remember, the best communicators make the fewest words go the furthest. Let me say that again. The best communicators make the fewest words go the furthest. You don't have to talk for a really long time and be verbose just to get the point across. When people leave, they just, especially for a first exposure, they just know, okay, there's a skincare line, nutrition line, and there's an opportunity to make some money. Are you in, you out? Like, that's pretty much the point of this presentation. I literally just gave you the presentation in 3 seconds. Okay, so here, this was key in boosting my confidence in presenting when it comes to this skill. And as I've trained a few presentation workshops, this is what I found to be the most helpful for a lot of people in our team. So the reason most people fear presenting is because they can't tell what the prospect or audience is thinking. So turning into a conversation through asking effective questions allows you to get a pulse on your audience and stay in control and keep them engaged. So let's talk about how to do it. Here are some examples for engagement, and you're actually going to notice, if you've seen a few presentations by now, you're like, oh, this is what a lot of the leaders are doing, okay? Because your level of awareness will be higher now. So they'll say things like, would you agree that, or by a show of hands, or everyone say, true or not true, okay? So it invites engagement and it makes it a two-party or a two-way street, I should say. So on the following slides will be several questions to choose from. You can get creative. I actually encourage you to make it your own. These are just examples that I personally use in my presentation. but just choose 1 or 2 per slide. Don't turn the whole thing into just an interrogation asking questions. These are simply options. So we're going to go through the entire slide deck together, and you're going to see how simple it is, okay? So, front half presenter, share your story, which we talked about, then dive into the information. Presentation should last no longer than 30 minutes. This leaves 15 minutes in the beginning to meet and greet and 15 minutes after to answer questions, sort, help people get started. You want to respect people's time, because if you take like 3 hours to do a home meeting or a private business reception, your guests are going to think they need 3 hours to do their home meetings, and they're going to think, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so we want to respect people's time, and we want to be professional. And of course, I'm talking about home meetings. When it comes to DFY, of course, you see a lot of leaders who pull out more of the stops. Maybe it's a little bit more showy, if anything, and I mean like we're elaborating a little bit more. But in home meetings, I keep it super simple, and that's what's worked best for our team. So on this slide, literally, it's enough to say the name of our organization's Team Fusion, and our goal is to impact 1 million lives. Now I'm literally, for the remainder of this, or at least for the slide deck, I'm literally just going to read the slides, and I'm going to integrate some engagement so you can see how it works. So there's 4 components to our business. One is we do business through a mobile app. So mobile apps downloads are expected to reach 268 billion in 2017. The second industry that we're in is network marketing. Globally, more than 60 million people are involved in direct selling, generating more than 114 billion in sales. And the 2 industries that our product lines are in are health and anti-aging. Health is $600 billion in the worldwide market, and anti-aging is projected to be $1 trillion industry by 2025. So I literally just read that in probably 45 seconds. And that honestly is sufficient. But something that I found that over and over and over again when we were actually having volunteers come up here, read the slide, and use engagement, as soon as they asked a question, their posture totally changed. Like, they were much more comfortable and confident up there because they were in control of the conversation. Just remember, the person who asks the questions controls the conversation. And we say that all the time when it comes to recruiting and prospecting, but it's true here too. So let's say in between 1 and 2, I said, how many of you have a smartphone? And I raise my hand because I'm leading it, and I'm demonstrating to them the response that I want. So then they all raise their hand. Or how many of you have downloaded an app before? And we raise our hand. Can we agree health and anti-aging are both huge industries and will continue to grow? And they're all in what we call yes mode. So throughout this presentation, you're going to notice I ask a lot of yes questions, so that by the end, they're like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So what's the point of this slide here? This is to establish the credibility of Kyani. Okay, so here, Kyani is the name of our company. We're an international nutraceutical company based out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. We launched in 2007. We're in over 60 countries now, and we've done over $250 million in annual sales. And the founders have never sold a business or failed in business. So can we agree that having 2 billionaire families backing Kyani means we have a strong foundation and stability? And everyone will say yes. Okay, another example I could talk about, if I happen to mention out of the $250 million that we've done so far, less than 1% has come from the United States. By show of hands, who would rather be in on something before it explodes, right? Or when we're talking about the owners, if I touch on that a little bit, and I say, the Taylor family, they built their wealth in agriculture and cattle ranching. Who's familiar with Idaho potatoes? Yeah, he owns that. One of the largest potato farms in the country. All right, now introducing the product line, you could do engagement here, but I literally wrote out word for word how to get through this slide. Some people, they struggle here because they don't know what to say. So here's what I say. Our whole concept is wellness from the inside out. We have 2 product lines. One is a premium grade skincare line called Flores, and the other is a premium grade nutrition line called the Triangle of Health. Flores is based off the Swiss apple stem cell. The Triangle of Health is based off the most powerful superfoods and ingredients in the world to help your body function at its best. So now I'm going to bring up a video that'll explain the product more in detail. Please help me give the video a round of applause. So I'm not going to play the video, obviously, but notice I put in all caps, please help me give the video a round of applause. It drives me crazy when they go, and here's the video. There's just, it's not professional, and you're not saying control, and you're not pacing people's excitement. So you want to say, please help me give the video a round of applause, and you lead it. You start clapping, and then it gets them more excited about the video. Alright, sharing the benefits. The triangle of health benefits include supporting cognitive function, increases cellular support, enables effective stress management, supports cardiovascular health, helps reduce inflammation, helps maintain healthy cholesterol levels and blood sugar levels, increases sexual function, and you don't need to change your eating habits, which is super cool. Now the skincare benefits include repairing damaged skin, they hydrates the skin, reduces fine lines, brightens skin tone, provides antioxidant protection, increases cell turnover, smooths wrinkles, builds collagen, and it's also based on all natural ingredients. Okay, now Prime is a program here that we have for customers where they can opt in for a membership that saves them money. You get free shipping and wholesale pricing, and we have a 30-day money-back guarantee on all the products, so you literally can try these products for a full month risk-free. So raise your hand if you know someone dealing with any of these issues. Okay, so maybe they'll raise their hand. Or maybe after I talk about Prime, I could say, how many of you are familiar with Amazon Prime? Yeah, so this is pretty similar to that. So those are just examples. Again, you choose what you want. Now, the purpose of this slide is to introduce the next speaker. When in doubt, edify your leader's time. You know, I've had so many times people are like, wait, but I don't know anything about their story. You don't have to. Here is a generic edification I love, and I train this because it's very simple and it's still super effective. So I could literally use this with anybody. It is an absolute honor and privilege to have this individual here with us today. Their time is extremely valuable. So everyone, please help me welcome Mr. or Miss XYZ. Make sure you use Mr. and Miss because edification is everything. And we can agree that we're in a society where if someone is addressed as Mr. or Miss, they're a little bit more important, okay? Now, you, again, lead the applause, be excited in your tone, and don't over-edify for like 10 minutes because that gets awkward for everyone, including the next presenter. Like, man, this person is awesome, they're the best, and like 10 minutes later, you're still like, yeah, they're so awesome, they're the best. Get through it, edify their time to say it's an honor and privilege to have them here. Alright, so, giving context is the purpose of this slide. So if you're the back half presenter, I'm literally just going to read it to show you the simplicity. So there's two types of income, linear income and leverage income. Linear is when you trade time for money. So this is based off 100% of your own effort, and there's no leverage here. Leverage income is income that recurs with or without you. This is through a leverage business. So here are a couple examples. When I'm presenting, I say, everyone say linear income. And I'll say linear income. And then I talk about that a little bit. And then leverage income, I say, everyone say leverage income. Okay, so this is just to invite engagement again. Sometimes I'll say, how many of you are familiar with hourly, salary, or commission? And I make sure I say, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you show up, you get paid. Don't show up, don't get paid. Now, when I talk about leverage income, sometimes I'll ask, how many of you are familiar with Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson? Right? So what do they have in common? This was hilarious. The other day, my sister gave a presentation at a home meeting, and everyone said, oh yeah, they're both musicians. She goes, they're both dead. Right? They're both dead, but they're both still making millions of dollars. Why? Because they did a job, which was record a song or, you know, have a show years ago, and they're still making money for it today. That's residual income, ladies and gentlemen. That's royalty-based income. So here's some other engagement examples. How many of you would rather be in the 5%? Raise your hand. How many of you would be okay with making money in your sleep? Okay, so again, these are just for fun. Let's move on. This slide gives context. To have a successful business, you have to have three things: a demand, a product or service that meets that demand, and a simple business model. So can we all agree that health and skincare is a huge demand? I personally like to use the word skincare because I feel like beauty is more geared toward women, but our skincare line, by the way, is gender neutral. Men can use it too, and they should. So by show of hands, who likes things that are simple? Again, I don't spend much time here, so go ahead and move on. Now, the point of this slide is to show the simplicity of the system. So here's how we build this business. We literally just do two things. We share the products and we share the business. By sharing the products, how do we do this? We share samples to people. We let the products go to work for us, so you don't have to explain everything. We have an online store that people can buy from, and we also host home parties. Now, for sharing the business, there's two ways we do this. One is through the mobile app. It's called Team Fusion, and this is so cool because it's designed for the busy person. So let's say that, you know, you have kids and you have a full-time job, but you still want to make some extra income in Kayani. You literally can share this app with somebody. They can hit play from the palm of their own hand, and they learn everything that you're seeing right now. everything from the products to how the compensation plan works and how this could be an opportunity for them. Pretty cool. We also build through home meetings, and we also have done for you launch events, which are larger scale hotel events. So some questions I could have integrated are, how many of you have shopped online before? How many of you have recommended, I love that word because it's so natural and everyone can relate to it. How many of you have recommended a product or service or a restaurant to a friend or family member before? Everyone's going to say yes. Okay, so this is the first way we get paid, is through gathering customers. So just some tips here. Don't use the word sell. Instead, say share or help. So here's an example. Imagine helping 3 people boost their confidence in their appearance because of fluoresce, and helping 3 people experience the triangle of health. You would now be generating an extra $150 a month on average. You know, how many of you know a handful of people who could benefit from these products? By show of hands, right? How many of you would be okay with an extra $300 to $400 a month? Alright, so those are examples. Let's continue. The second way we get paid is through building a team. So I will actually read this slide so you guys can hear. Garnet is the first way we get, Garnet is the first position you can get promoted to. This is when you've identified your first 2 business partners. So the reason why we want to build a team is because it's the same concept as franchising or building distribution. You know, one of my mentors told me, she said, Sarah, if you could get paid 10 cents for every cup of coffee sold at a Starbucks, would you rather get paid on 1 location or 100 locations? Obviously 100, right? So we do the same thing here, but instead of franchising through physical brick and mortar stores and waiting for the construction and all that, we literally franchise through a team of people and their online store. That is genius, right? You could even ask, how many of you think that's genius? Okay, another example, you don't have to say both, but this is just an example to explain distribution. Some people struggle here. If you were a real estate broker and had to sell 100 houses, would you rather sell 100 by yourself or have a team of 10 agents sell 10 each? Right? The whole concept is have a lot of people do a little bit. Concept, Wealth 101 concept. And then, you could say Garnet's average $74 a month, $100 fast start bonus. Read the rest of the slide. Another great engagement is, how many of you know 3 to 5 people who are, and then insert statement here, overworked, underpaid, wants to pay off some debt, wants more time with their families, would love to take more vacations each year, just something that you know is relatable and real. And the funny thing is it's powerful to say, how many of you know somebody who, because at a presentation one time, I said, how many of you have some debt you want to pay off? No one wants to admit to that. So no one raised their hand. So next time I said, how many of you know somebody who has some debt? Oh, they all raised their hand. So little things like that. Oh, by the way, when you're telling people to raise their hand, if someone's super negative and skeptical and they're sitting there with their arms crossed, they have to uncross their arms to raise their hand. Cool psychology, right? That blew my mind the first time I heard one of my mentors say that. All right, rank advancement. So you read this slide. Here's some examples. How many of us would be okay with a white paid-for car? What would you do with an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month? So now you're starting to, paint vision in their mind, how Kyanie could fit in their lives and how it could benefit them. But the whole emphasis at these positions is the magic of part-time. Okay, so over and over and over again, when I'm reading this slide, I'm explaining these ranks, I say an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month, part-time. Sometimes I'll even say, everyone say part-time. Okay, Ruby, $3,500 a month on average, part-time. Emerald, still a part-time position, $7K a month, blah, blah, blah. Now, stretching vision of what's possible. Don't be a hype show at these positions. The reality is, most people won't really register this level of income. Instead, share stories of leaders who have achieved these positions despite their circumstances. For example, full-time job, school, family, kids, no prior experience in the industry. So that way, they'll remember, okay, it's been done, it's possible, and someone like me has achieved it before. So the emphasis here is time freedom and lifestyle, not just the money and dollar amount, okay? And, the story that you share. You want to be collecting stories as you go through this business, build relationships with these leaders, watch the testimonials on YouTube, but whatever you think is going to relate to your prospect most, share that story, okay? All right. Getting started, learn to love this slide. Don't be afraid of it, because if you talk about it like it's a huge, big investment, your prospect's going to feel the same way. So if you talk about what a ridiculously small investment it is for the income potential, they'll feel that way too. So you dictate the conversation, not the prospect. So here's some examples for engagement. How many of you know traditional business owners? Did they invest more than $9.99 to get started? Right? Did they have support and everything provided for them like we do here? No, right? Who would agree that this is such a small investment for the income and freedom you can create here? Raise your hand to lead it and they will follow. Okay? I mean, those are some tips. But for the sake of time, I mean, you literally just read these slides. Actually, you know what? I do want to spend a little bit of time here. I'm just going to say, when I read the slide, I say, so there's 3 different ways to get started, and this is why I fell in love with this industry, because anybody can do it. So there's 3 different packages. There's the product pack, builder, and premium pack. The product pack I really don't promote that much. It's the bare minimum to get started. And, you know, we have it there for a reason. You know your financial situation the best, but it just does not give you the most bang for your buck. If someone were to ask me, Sarah, which one would you recommend if I want to get off to the best start? Obviously, I'm going to say the premium pack. Why? Because it gives you the most value for your investment. It gives you a ton of product on hand to sample out. It gives you your website for customers to order from, your online back office for to track the logistics of your business, and it gives you license to do business with Kayani. All right, the builder pack is still a good pack. Just costs a little bit less, but it still gives you everything you need. It still gives you your products, website, licensing to represent Kayani as well. So, you know, sometimes I'll give some other analogies and jokes and whatnot, but that's literally me explaining the slides. Some people get so technical about what comes in there. It is not the products that people are buying, by the way. It's your confidence, okay? And it truly is most beneficial the bigger package they do. All right, so, here we go. This is explaining our competitive edge. Put simply, I don't spend much time here. I just say this is our competitive edge. It's designed for the busy person or for the person who isn't as confident in sharing the information. So this takes off so much pressure off the new person. Here's some examples for engagement. How many of you would love to build a business from anywhere in the world that has Wi-Fi? Right? And you can share stories about, you know, how you've built this business remotely and how the app has helped you. All right, so here, this is rewarding loyalty and giving back, showing the heart of Kayani. So you literally just read the slide, and then here's some examples. Who here knows of any other financial institution that compounds by 10%? It's unheard of. And maybe after you read the caring hands part, you say, who here loves giving back? Or who here would love to feed starving children? Okay, so those are some examples. And here is closing. You can mess everything else up, but this is the most important slide. They will remember the impact and the feeling you left with them. It was either one that was weak in posture or one that instilled passion, excitement, vision, and a fear of loss. So we're going to take a look at how to effectively cast vision. First, let's understand the psychology of prospects. People will join the campaign long before they join the company. So campaign comes first, then you come second. Do they even like you? Do they buy into you? Do they buy into your confidence? Do they think that you can lead them to where they want to go? And do they even want to be in business with you? And then the company comes third. A lot of people are trying to sell what? The company. They're not working on themselves. They're not doing personal development. They're not casting any vision. And sometimes it's because they don't know how. But luckily, we're about to talk about that. So just remember this. People joined the vision, and they had to believe in you first. Okay? So vision or campaign first. I'm holding up my fingers, but I realize you can't see me because this is a screen recording. So vision, you, then the company. Okay? So here's some examples of talking about the bigger picture when you're casting vision about why you're doing it. You know, you could say because this market is wide open and we get to be the first. All right? And literally anywhere in the U.S. is first mover's advantage, by the way. So because there's an epidemic of X and we have a solution. Or how about because the economy is in a bad situation, we have a way to help people out of it. Okay, notice there's nothing about the product ingredients in here and there's nothing about the comp plan. Okay, this is not a technical thing. This is talking about purpose. Now, let's talk about how to cast vision or share your campaign. These are some questions you should be answering on a subconscious level for the prospect. What results are you expecting? How will people benefit? What kind of people are you looking for? What's your game plan, and what kind of support are you going to offer? Here's an example from Eric Worre, and I integrated a little bit of the Dreamcraft program to make it fit for Kayani. So I'm just going to read it. We can work, let's say I just sat down with someone at a 2-on-1, at a Starbucks, or a 1-on-1. I'm sharing the business, and I'm wrapping up here. I say, look, we can work 24 months and get a return and a profit for years. Not only are we going to benefit, but our paycheck is going to be a reflection of how many people we were able to help with the product and the business. So I'm looking for ambitious, big-hearted, energetic, passionate people that want to help us with this mission. I don't know if you meet that criteria or not, but that's what we're looking for. So here's the game plan. We're going to promote over 1,000 Dreamcard qualifiers, 100 six-figure earners across the next 12 to 24 months. Okay, we're going to learn together and grow, and you are never going to get more support in your life than the support you're going to get here. So we want to help you get the maximum out of your effort. Okay, let's do this together and change your family tree. How's that for posture? Okay, a lot of you, even if you're not literally saying it, you're like, want to join, right? It's radiating off your energy. And so, you don't have to say this verbatim, obviously. This is just an example. But this should, I always end every single presentation with, here's what we're looking for. People who either A, have leadership abilities, or B, the willingness to learn. Work ethic, self-motivated, that's obvious, literally to be successful in anything, but a huge heart for helping people is what we're looking for. Because to take this business to a high level, you really do have to have a huge heart for helping people, and you have to care. So those are just examples. These are the last couple things. All right, the keys for casting vision. Use strong language. I'm not saying hopefully, or we might, or we're going to try, okay? No, don't say that. We're going to say as if it's a reality already, and we're already in the works, because it is, with or without any of us, okay? This train is taking off. So here's an example. We are going to promote another 3,000 car qualifiers, 200 diamonds, and impact tens of thousands of more people in their quality of life. Okay, now here's 2 points that are awesome. Show what's possible if they lock arms, and then tell them what will happen if they don't. That's called instilling a fear of loss. Now, here is showing what's possible if they lock arms. Look, you're going to be able to take care of your family the way they deserve. You're going to travel to the places you've been wanting to, spend time giving back to the charities you've been putting off, and you're going to wake up every single day to a life that is better than your dreams. How does that sound, right? And then you tell them what happens if they don't. Look, the person next to you, let's say this is for like a home meeting or a hotel event, okay? The person next to you is going to lock arms, and you're going to watch them XYZ. And 5 years from now, for you, nothing will have changed. You will be exactly where you are now and look back and say, that could have been me. Pause. Okay, power pausation, let it sit. So these are some keys for casting vision. My advice to you is to record yourself, practice. Don't be so focused on sounding good at first, because, again, it's another cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. It's so true that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Before you're great, you have to be good. Before you're good, you gotta suck. You gotta be bad. And so you have to embrace that, and you're gonna be so much more relatable to your team as they're up and coming through this business. And honestly, sometimes if you're too polished or too perfect, people can't relate anymore. So you want to be authentic, be real. Don't be afraid to mess up, but at least having these things in mind about sharing your story, how to invite engagement and integrate that into your presentation, and how to cast some mad vision. That's going to really be what sets you apart from amateurs in this industry. So I hope that this helped. So excited to see y'all at the next boot camp, and we will see you at the next International Leadership Academy. Everyone have a great day.